Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today you can see that my shelves are looking an absolute mess, and that is because I'm finally filming my YALC haul. If you don't know what YALC is, YALC stands for the Young Adult Literature Convention, and it happens in the summer every year as part of the London Film and Comic Con. The things including in YALC are author signings, and that was amazing for me because I got to meet Alice Oseman, who's the author of Heartstopper. So my volume 1 of Heartstopper is signed by Alice, which is, I don't know, so overwhelming. I also got to meet Jacqueline Wilson, who was just a huge part of my reading growing up. And so having an autograph from her is like a kind of life-changing thing. So that was awesome. There were loads of other lovely authors there as well, but I'm relatively new to the booktube community, and so I didn't know a lot of the authors, and honestly I was so focused on meeting Alice, and I knew she would be the most popular author and you had to queue to get tickets. It would have been quite difficult to get tickets for other authors. I did have a ticket for Bridget Kemmerer, but I gave that to my friend who really wanted to meet her but wasn't able to get a ticket, so I gave her my ticket because it meant more to her to be able to get her book signed. In addition to meeting authors, there are also panels, and so we didn't get to participate in many of the panels, but there was a Jacqueline Wilson panel, so that was awesome. As well as workshops. We didn't take part in any of the workshops, but they did look really cool. There's just so much as part of the day, and because it was our first time, we were kind of just going there to like get a vibe of what it was like. The main part, I would say, probably of YALC is the shopping, and there are basically loads of publishers' stalls who are selling books that you can buy, primarily young adult, but I would say some of them kind of cross over into that like new adult sort of genre as well. I was not prepared for how many books I would buy. Now, I should have been, because I love buying books. I would say buying books is more of a hobby for me than reading books. So I really should have predicted that I would buy a lot of books. But me and my friend Emma bought one bag each, thinking that would be enough. I was like, we were like on the way, and I was like, we're not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna buy loads of books, even though all the videos that I'd watched of booktubers who had been previously was like, you will buy a lot of books. Some people bring suitcases. And I was like, who's buying that many books? You need a suitcase. Oh, would a suitcase have been so smart? So if you ever go to YALC in future years, do listen when people say you will buy a lot of books. Now, in my defense, these books are so cheap compared to buying a book in store. So many deals, even from the beginning of the day, are like 3 books for £10 on the majority of stalls. There are so many deals. They have deals on paperbacks, deals on hardbacks. As you go through the day, so I was there on the Sunday, and I don't know whether the deals are as good on a Friday or Saturday, but from the beginning of Sunday, there were deals. So I was able to get really good deals on books from the beginning of the day. I had seen from some of the videos that I'd watched where people were saying, like, wait it out until like later in the day because the publishers will put extra deals on, which I think some of them did, but the books went so quickly at that point, and the sort of middle part of the afternoon was when we were meeting Alice and Jacqueline Wilson, so we couldn't have been round the publishers' stalls. So I would recommend that if there are books you want from the beginning of the day, you do buy them, because they don't have an unlimited stock of each book, so you can't guarantee they'll be there. So anyway, we weren't there to set out to buy particular books. Instead, I bought a number of books, like this little stack here. There were a number of books that I thought, these look really cool, I'm gonna buy these. So let's show you what they are. So I'm gonna start with the only graphic novel that I bought, which was Messy Roots, which is by Laura Gao. And this was a graphic novel that was already on my TBR. So that was great. This is probably the only book I bought that was actually on my TBR. There was one that I think I'd put on my TBR like the day before. But yeah, this one had actually been on my TBR for a while. So at least this one was like a justifiable purchase. Also, I think it was £5, which given the RIP for this is much more than that because graphic novels are just a little bit more expensive. I was super excited to get this for that price. So this is a graphic novel memoir of the author's life, and she basically illustrates, so she writes and illustrates this graphic novel, and it's her coming of age as somebody who wants to make the basketball team, escape Chinese school, and figure out why girls make her heart flutter. So it is LGBTQ+. She comes from Wuhan in China, and obviously that was somewhere that kind of wasn't on many people's radar until the COVID-19 pandemic, and she immigrates to Texas, and so it's kind of her going through talking about her sort of coming of age story. So super excited to have this. So this was the great buy that I got at YALC. Everything else was a welcome addition, but this was a really great buy because of it being on my TBR. So next, let's get into the romances, because that's probably the genre that I read the most. So first up, we have Cafe Con Lychee, and this went, as I say, this was the book that went on my TBR like the day before YALC, because I was watching a video by How to Train Your Gavin where he mentioned this book, and so it literally gone on my TBR the day before, so that was exciting. But basically it follows the story of Theo and Gabby. Theo is the only openly gay guy at school, and he works at his parents' Asian American cafe, but he's really keen to escape and get out from the pressures of that. Then the other character is Gabby, who works at his parents' Puerto Rican bakery. There's an arrival of a new sort of fusion cafe in town that basically threatens both of their parents' businesses and kind of puts sort of a spanner in the works, I guess, for both of the characters. Gabby is also in the closet, and he's really jealous of Theo, who's openly gay, and he's kind of really wants to sort of be able to explore his sexuality more, but doesn't feel he can. So I think this is going to be a really interesting book. I don't think it got as good of reviews on Goodreads as I was expecting, but I'm actually really interested to read this. Now I'm reading the blurb, I sort of want to read this now, so this is probably going to find its way onto my August TBR, which I've already filmed, but this book will probably find its way on there, potentially. Next up, we have When You Get the Chance by Emma Lord, and this is from Pan Macmillan Publishers, and I got a couple of books from them. I actually wish I'd got more. One of the books I put back was Tweet Cute, also by Emma Lord, and I'm kind of wishing that I'd picked that up, but honestly by this part of the day I'd got so many books. But the reason that I got this one is because this is quite me in a book, because it's basically about a theatre kid, and my degree's in musical theatre, so I was a theatre kid. And so basically Millie wants to be a Broadway star, and you know, nothing's going to stop her, not her introverted dad, her drama club rival Oliver, but she needs an ally. And then there's an accidentally left open browser which brings Millie to her dad's embarrassingly moody live journal from 2003. Millie knows just what to do. So I don't think it gives too much away from the blurb. It would obviously be a quick read because it's a YA kind of romance story, so I think this is so cute. This cover's adorable as well, so I had to get this as a theatre kid. Next up, also from Pan Macmillan Publishers, is My Mechanical Romance by Alexis Farol Follmouth. And if you don't know, Alexis is Olivia Blake, who wrote the Atlas 6. Olivia Blake is her pen name, this is her real name. I love this book so much. So this is, I think, the only book from the YALC call that I have already read. And basically this is it follows the story of Belle and Tao. And Belle is new to this really prestigious school because her parents have just got divorced, and so she has to move away, not very far though. She moves like down the road, but her mum changes her school anyway, and she's already at the school by the time we start the book, but it is sort of following her settling in. A big part of this book is Belle really not knowing what she wants to do in the future, and one of her teachers realizes in her that she has ability in physics and thinks that she would be a great addition to AP Physics, which is an advanced physics program, and to the robotics club. And so she pushes for Belle to join that, and we go through the story of Belle kind of settling into that, meeting the sort of other characters at the school as part of being part of this. Tao, is that his name? No, it's Teo. I think I said Tao, but it's Teo. Then we also have Teo, so Matteo Luna, and Teo is the most popular guy at school, but it's not that kind of necessarily someone who like struggles with school and Belle has to like bring him up or something like that. He is by far the smartest person at school. He's also the best at soccer, and he's basically the best at everything. So kind of the opposite to Belle in that he's really confident and knows what he wants to do, and everyone loves him, and so Belle's got a lot of settling in to do. And there's some romantic tension between Belle and Teo that we follow through the story, but the main thing that I really love about it is it's basically promoting women in STEM, and a lot of it is about how women are treated in science and maths, and how they're sort of made to feel like they can't do as well at that. I've done a lot of spiel about this already, so I'm not going to go to this video because there's too many books to haul in this video, but I do have, this is the review I'm most proud of on Goodreads, so you can check out my Goodreads in the description down below, so do feel free to check that out if you want to. But also I have a video which I may re-upload to this channel, but it's on my planning channel, So I'll link that down below as well, where I did my like best and worst of the year, and you can see me ramble excessively about this book in there. But this book is super important to me. It's one of the best books I've ever read, so I would really recommend it. It's my mechanical romance. Next up we have Love and Other Great Expectations by Becky Dean. This follows Brit, who is based in the States, and she has an injury, which means she's not going to be able to go to college, and so she ends up on this like scavenger hunt thing competition around England. And when she comes to England, she meets Luke, who is really bookish, and he isn't supposed to be helping her with the scavenger hunt, but she encourages him to anyway, and it's kind of following the story of them falling in love. I'm super excited to read this. I mentioned this in my August TBR video. I do really hope to get to this, and this is published by Delacourt Press. So yeah, Loving Other Great Expectations. So next up we have The Songs You've Never Heard by Becky Jerams and Ellie Wyatt. Sorry if you can hear the wind outside. The conservatory door's open because it's really warm, but it seems to be a bit windy outside. But yeah, so this is The Songs You've Never Heard, and this is actually a book that I discovered on Instagram. So I did know about this book before going to YALC. And I think the reason that this book has, I mean, obviously they're trying to sort of create buzz around the book, but the reason this book is a bit different is that the authors have also written songs that accompany the book. I don't really know how that works. I'm not sure if you're supposed to kind of listen to the music as you go through. So really interested to find out more about how that works. But when I saw this book, it was the first book I picked up when we were at YALC, and it was on the publisher's table, and I was like, oh, I've seen this book promoted on Instagram. I would love to buy this. And she was like, oh, the author's here. She can sign it for you. And I was like, cool. And yeah, so, and it was like £5, so that was awesome. And so it was Becky who was there. Ellie wasn't there, but it was already pre-signed by Ellie, and it was the last book that was on the YALC table. She says, enjoy our books are cool. So there you go, that's how they describe it. Enjoy our books are cool, best wishes, Ellie. And then Becky was so lovely. So her autograph that she gave me is so cute. So it says, dear Kat, hope you enjoy, love Becky J, PS love your Belle costume, because I was cosplaying as Belle. And so this book is really special to me now because of that really personal author's note. But I am genuinely excited to read this. It was on my radar already because of the Instagram promotion, so there you go, publishers, that works. But yeah, because it's really different, because it's a booksicle. But basically we follow two girls, Meg and Alana. Meg is a really famous pop star, but she feels really kind of trapped by the McCarthy brand, which is her last name. And then Alana's really jealous of her because she's a pop star, but Meg is jealous of Alana because she doesn't seem to be scared of standing out. Their worlds collide. So really excited to get to this because it just seems really different because it's a book's cool. So that's The Songs You've Never Heard. So next up we have A Lot Like Adios, which is by Alexis Daria. I love the cover of this, so beautiful. I don't really think this is a YA from having read the back. I would say it's probably more of an adult book. And it's published by Avon, which is an imprint of HarperCollins. And basically it follows Michelle and Gabe. So they were like lovers when they were younger, and then Gabe leaves at 18 because he doesn't want to be sort of tied down by his parents anymore. Michelle doesn't have a love life. She's got a really successful freelance business as a graphic designer, but she's not married. She's described on here as being the black sheep of her family, who are marriage obsessed Puerto Rican family. And then Gabe is escaped when he was 18, is now the owner of LA's hottest celebrity gym, and Michelle is brought on board to help with the marketing campaign. And what ensues from there. The only thing that's annoying is that this is the second book. Like when I added all my books to my Goodreads yesterday, it said number 2, and I was like, oh, so I don't have number 1. And I don't know if it's one of those romances where you will meet characters who are from the first book. So even though you can read the second one as a standalone, you will meet characters from the first one. So it would be spoilers for the first one. So I need to try and figure out what the first one is and probably buy that, but I do just think this cover is absolutely stunning. So that is A Lot Like Adios. Next up we have Count Your Lucky Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, and I have the first one in this series, which is Written in the Stars, and then I don't have the second one, and now this is the third one, so I will need to pick up the second one because I think they are the kind of books in a romance trilogy that you don't have to have read them all, but it will have characters from the previous ones, so I probably will try and get the second one as well. Hopefully I'll like Alexandria Bellefleur's writing because I haven't read Written in the Stars. I really like the blurb of this, so I have a feeling it's going to be kind of quirky, and so I think I probably will like it. Just the general writing style on the back. Then fate, the heartless bitch, intervenes and stuff like that. So I think that the writing style of this is going to be super interesting. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Basically, it's a sapphic romance between Margot and Olivia, and it's a sort of childhood lovers. It's a second chance romance. Olivia has been married and divorced, and she never thought she would see Margot again. They were each other's firsts, everything, and you know, they're really kind of interested to be back together. So yeah, looking forward to reading this, even though it's going to be a while, because realistically I have to read Written in the Stars, which I might try and prioritize. I said this in my August TBR video, but I'm such a mood reader and I will just read whatever I feel like at the time. And so now I want to read Written in the Stars, which wasn't on my August TBR, but I will just read whatever I want to read. So yeah, it might be that I get to the first one of those this month, but that's Count Your Lucky Stars. Now let's move on to the fantasy books, of which there are a fair amount because there was quite a lot of fantasy at YALC. So the first one is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, and I wasn't going to get this. This was like quite late on in the day. And I wasn't necessarily going to pick this up because honestly by this point it was really heavy to carry all the books, but somebody, so whoever you are, if you end up watching this video, thank you, somebody at the store was like, you will love that book, it's so good. And I know it's a really popular series, I have heard of it on BookTube, so I decided to pick it up. It is such a gorgeous book as well. I'm not going to attempt to rehash the back of this because I just don't think I could retell it, so I'm sorry to read the blurb, but I'm going to read the blurb. So in the markets of 18th century Cairo, thieves, tricksters, in the markets of 18th century Cairo, thieves, tricksters, con artists and outcasts eke out a living, swindling rich nobles and foreign invaders alike. But alongside this new world, the old stories linger. Tales of jinn and spirits, of cities hidden among the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire and riches, where magic pours down every street, hanging in the air like dust. Many wish their lives could be filled with wonder, but not Nari. She knows the trays she uses to get by are just tricks and sleights of hand. There's nothing magical about her. She only wishes to one day leave Cairo. But as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. So yeah, super interested to read this. I think it sounds so interesting and I know it's a really popular series, so very excited to have this and hopefully get to it someday soon. But also just look, it's so pretty. So next up we have a whole series which my boyfriend so next up we have a whole series which is really funny because my boyfriend's a really big fantasy reader and he was like, you need to not buy the second and third books in series in case you don't like them, like just buy the first one, which is, it really was like ringing in my head at the time, but they were on a deal, you know, it was 3 for £10 and like I would get one book for that in Waterstones normally. So yeah, I decided to just pick up the whole set and we'd reached that part of the day, you know. So this is I don't know what the name of the, if there's like a name for the series, but it's the Rebel of the Sands trilogy by Alwyn Hamilton. And I mean, firstly, these books are stunning. So I have actually seen them many times in Waterstones and wanted to pick them up, but didn't because I didn't want to buy a new fantasy series. Here we are. They are absolutely gorgeous. They are some of the prettiest books I own. So that's the first thing. Because did I say it in this video? I don't know. This is the second video I'm filming today, but I am absolutely somebody who buys a book based on the cover. So these are so gorgeous. But also it says on this sticker, love Katniss, love Ray, meet Amani. And I do love Katniss and Ray, so that also works. Again, I'm not going to attempt to rehash the blurb because my brain from like filming quite a lot of videos today is feeling a little bit fried. So it says here, Dustwalk is an unforgiving dead-end town. It's not the place to be poor or orphaned or female, and yet Amani Alhiza must call it home. Amani wants to escape and see the world she's heard about in campfire stories. Then a foreigner with no name turns up, and with him she has the chance to run. But the desert plains are full of dangerous magic, the Sultan's army is on the rise, and Amani is soon caught at the heart of a fearless rebellion. So I think it's a sort of 1001 Nights retelling. I am super excited to read this. Just rereading that means I want to read these books like right now. But yeah, I think these are gorgeous. Very happy to have them. That is the Rebel of the Sands trilogy. So next up we have, I don't know if there are other books in this series, but I think these are the 2 books that exist. Yes, the third one, there was like a picture of it on the stand. So I think the third one's coming out later this year. This is the Scholarmance series by Naomi Novik. And when I was at the Penguin stand, the publishers really recommended these. We were sort of talking about books I would like, and they thought I would love these, and I've just read the blurb again. I think they're absolutely right. So these are the first 2 books. So again, I'm going to read the blurb. I'm sorry there's so much blurb reading in this video, but it's particularly for the fantasies. It's just a bit easier. So enter a school of magic unlike any you have ever encountered. There are no teachers, no holidays, friendships are purely strategic, and the odds of survival are never equal. Once you're inside, there are only 2 ways out. You graduate or you die. Elle Higgins is uniquely prepared for the school's many dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out untold millions, never mind easily destroy the countless monsters that prowl the school. Except she might accidentally kill all the other students too. So Elle is trying her hardest not to use it. That is unless she has no other choice. Super interesting. So really happy to have that. Also, these books are gorgeous. So very excited to have that. I think I will really enjoy these. I really like magic school books, so I think these will be ideal for me. I think I got this from YALC. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it was kind of later in the day. Look at this cover. So this is Legendborn by Tracy Dion, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I think particularly Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin talks about this, so I wanted to pick this up. I'm pretty sure I got it from YALC. Again, I'm going to read the blurb, which is: after her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants to escape. A residential program for bright high schoolers seems like the perfect opportunity until she witnesses a magical attack her very first night of campus. A flying demon feeding on human energies, a secret society of so-called Legendborn that hunt the creatures down, a mysterious mage who calls himself a Merlin and who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failure unlocks Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory from the night her mother died. Now Bree will do whatever it takes to discover the truth, even infiltrate the Legendborn. But when the Legendborn reveal themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights and foretell a magical war, Bree must decide how far she'll go for the truth. Should she use her magic to take the society down or join the fight? Sounds super interesting. Is that silver foil? Yes. Foily. I love foil on books. So that is Legendborn. Next up we have the only hardback I think I bought. I prefer paperbacks. So this is Terciel and Eleanor by Garth. This is part of a big series. I don't know the name of the whole series. This edition is so gorgeous. This I think is a prequel based on what the publishers were telling me, but they recommended that I read this first if I haven't read the series. They've said that people have got more out of the series if they read the prequel first. I'm just gonna have to trust them that that's correct. I was really debating whether I should just buy the first in the series, which was in paperback, because this is the newer book, but they told me people have found it easier to read this way, so I have picked up the prequel. I'm not going to talk about this one in massive detail because I feel like if you're somewhere in the series already, it might kind of throw you if I'm reading about the prequel. I also don't really understand what any of this blurb means, but it has some really good recommendations on the back from authors that I know. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this. Also, my friend Emma, who was with me at YALC, her other friend Sarah has read this and really loved it, so I'm excited to get to this. And last up, we have The Glass Dagger, which is by Stephanie Hudson and illustrated by Caroline Fairbairn. And this is I think it's self-published because it feels like floppy. So I think it's a self-published book, and the author was at YALC. She had her own stand, and she has so many books. Like, she has a sort of adult romance series, which I think she said has like 15 books in the series, and I just wasn't kind of ready to commit to like a 15 book series. But this is her YA, which is a more sort of magic school type books, the Afterlife Academy series, and we were sort of chatting. She was lovely, and we were chatting, and she sort of said she thought that this one might be a better fit for me. Also, the illustrator was there of this series, so my book is signed by both the author and the illustrator. So again, I'll read the blurb. So, from the realms of the Afterlife saga comes a new spin on this gothic world. When a bunch of misfit orphans all find themselves on a bus heading towards a new life, one called Afterlife, it wasn't quite what they had in mind. But even fate can play games, and 5 teens will soon find themselves asking even more questions than ever before. Questions about an uncertain future in the new world, and the very first one on the top of that long list. What does the King of Heaven and Hell have in store for them? Oh, it's got beautiful illustrations in it. I think I didn't realise it would have illustrations in it. Wow, beautiful. I thought it was just illustrated on the cover, so I didn't know that. So that's really interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this. I also got given like loads of extra stuff by the author. There was like posters and pins and stuff like that, so I have a bag of goodies. But yeah, so that is The Glass Dagger. And that is the end of my YALC haul. So overall, I think it was about 17 books that I picked up, which is by no means as many as some other people picked up, but I honestly couldn't carry any more things. As part of your YALC ticket, you got tickets to Comic-Con. So at Comic-Con, I did pick up a few things. So I collect alpacas, which are the brand Alpicasso, if you've heard of them. And you can see my kind of current collection on my planning YouTube channel. They're on my desk, they sit like all along the top, and so yeah, I got 3 because it's really hard to get Alpicasso now. I usually get them from MCN Comic-Con, but they've kind of stopped selling them, so the fact that I could get 3 I'd never seen before was awesome. So you know, I spent some of my book budget on alpacas, and then also they had this gorgeous print I'm not sure of the name of the stand. They only sell at Comic-Cons, but this is a Legend of Zelda poster, which I picked up for my boyfriend because he's really into Breath of the Wild. So yeah, I picked that up because I think it will look really cute in our house. We also picked up some other stuff like fudge and stuff like that. Also, one of the cool things about YALC is you get given like sort of extra free things as well, like free bookmarks and little brochures and stuff. This was a really gorgeous origami that you got to do, which was by Macmillan for My Mechanical Romance. So I love having this because it's like one of my favorite books ever. So the fact that I have this really cute My Mechanical Romance origami is really cute. You also get kind of things like books, little books with like, this is from Scholastic, of like books that are coming up, so it's little like excerpts from those. We've also got one which is a romance I'm so excited to read, which I think is called Winter Wonderland, and so we've got the first few chapters of that. I'm so excited for when that book comes out later this year. So yeah, there's like loads of free stuff. It's such a cool experience. I had such a good time. I'm really hoping that I'll get to go again in future, maybe a bit more prepared about how many books I would buy. Maybe I would try and buy less, but I really love book shopping, so I don't think I would just come prepared and bring a suitcase. But I had such a good time. If you were at YALC, let me know how your experience was, what you picked up. I would love to hear more about it. Otherwise, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. As I am a relatively new book YouTuber, even though I'm not new to YouTube, any likes or subscribes on this channel go a long way to helping me out. So if you did enjoy this video, I'd massively appreciate a like. And if you do enjoy the content that I'm putting out on this channel, a subscribe would go such a long way. So thank you so much if you choose to join the small little family that we'll have over here. I don't have an upload schedule really planned. I'm just going to kind of post stuff as and when, but I do have loads of ideas for my booktube videos, so I'm really excited to bring those to you. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye. I now have to try and take a thumbnail with this many books.